This episode of Burning Daylight has been brought to you by Stetson Ranches out of Fromberg, Montana. Stetson Ranches is a multi-generational ranch family, very diversified outfit, working on building something that'll be sustainable for many generations to come. And they're focusing on what every good ranch should focus on: good horses and excellent tasting beef. They've got some of the best quarter horses around with bloodlines going back to some of the best foundation lines such as Centaur, Bar, Peppy Sand Badger, Two-Eyed Jack, just to name a few. Their brood mares are coming out of the 4.6s and the King Ranch. Just really big, shapy, athletic, good-minded mares spitting out a colt. That's really going to be just nice to work with, ready to go any direction. They also run registered Black Angus cows, braiding them to registered Hereford bulls, and that's gonna give you a black baldy calf that is going to really grow and is gonna just put a really excellent cut of beef on your plate. That'll be delivered to your door, flash frozen, delivered to your door on dry ice, all for about if you buy eighth or a quarter, it's about $9.95 a pound. If you sign up for their subscription, it's $125 a month for 8 to 11 pounds of beef, and it'll be a bundle of burger, steak, roast, stew meat, and it's a really good deal. USDA Prime, and the folks that you're dealing with are some of the best around. So check them out at StetsonRanches.com for the horses. Stetson Beef, if you'd like to order any beef, StetsonBeef.com. Go follow them on Facebook and Instagram, Stetson Beef, and let them know you heard about it on Burning Daylight. And also, when you check out on the beef deal, use the promo code MOVEYOURASS. That's MOVEYERASS, all one word, and you'll get 20% off your first month. So anyways, go check them out. Next up, we got Loma Livestock. This will be the last time you'll hear from Loma for a little while. They are slowing down for the summer, so they're rolling back to an every other week sale. So it'll be every other Monday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. They're in Loma, Colorado, 1369 12.5 Road, and it'll be 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And then when they pick back up in the fall, they'll come right back on. I sure appreciate George and the whole crew over at Loma Livestock, longest running sponsor of this show. So, be glad to have you back anytime. Doing good work over there, trying to make the best experience for the buyer and the seller, and just a good sale barn in a good town, and really great people running it. So check them out online, LomaLivestock.com. Go follow them on Facebook and Instagram. If you can't make the sale live, you can go over to dvauction.com, click on the Loma Livestock tab, and you can watch it live and bid right there from the comfort of your own home. And I'm not sure which weeks they're doing their sale, so you have to go over to their website and look. There'll be a schedule of events there, and or give them a holler. If you'd like to consign or got any questions, 970-858-9988. Please go check them out on Facebook and Instagram, and give them a holler. Tell them that we sure like them over here at Burning Daylight. So anyways, last but not least, we've got Jake Houston and Houston Boot Company, the official boot maker of Burning Daylight. Jake's been making boots for about 5 years. His shop is located in Virginia City, Nevada. It's all handmade, best quality materials that he can find, custom made to you every single time. Some of the best craftsmanship you'll ever find. And these boots will fit you like a glove from day one. He measures everything by hand. If you can't meet up with him to do that, obviously he can send you a kit and show you how to do it. But it's way better if you meet with him in person, let him measure you up, and get a feel for what you want. And he'll make something that looks really, really cool. And it's going to hold up too. So anyway, if you'd like to get a hold of him, check him out on Instagram at Houston Boot Co. Or you can contact him directly, 775-315-3022. And as always, let him know you heard about it on Burning Daylight. I appreciate all these sponsors, and I appreciate you all listening to the show for some bonus content and get entered in a couple giveaways that we do every month, head over to patreon.com/burning daylight. And you can subscribe there for as little as $1 with a couple different levels that different benefits for the higher tier subscribers. But anyway, go check that out, and let's get into the show.
I'm gonna hold the center. I'm gonna hold the center. Sing for Remy Lou in every kind of weather. I'm gonna hold the center. Take the long ride home, short circle, forget her. Wild mountain thyme blooms around the purple heather. I'm gonna hold.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley, and we're burning daylight. Howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Friday. Hope the week is going well, and I hope this weekend's going to be as awesome as mine is anyways. I guess it could be Thursday that you're listening to this. If you're listening on Patreon, you'll be listening on Thursday. No, you won't. Maybe. We'll see. I might be able to get some work done on it and get this baby out to you. But if not, you'll be listening to it on Friday as well. We'll see how that goes. Anyhow, I'll be traveling, headed down to marry a good friend of mine to his lovely bride, Nick Allen Lute, rawhide braider extraordinaire, is getting married on Saturday, and I'll be performing or officiating the ceremony. However, I'm going to be doing the "Do You Say I Do" bullshit, and that's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun wedding. Then I'm going to jam on down to do a little bull session with Chauncey Westner and a couple of his boys. And then jam on over to Guthrie, Texas. Go check out the 4-6s. Talk to, fella you may have heard a time or two. Boots O'Neill. No biggie. And then today, no biggie, I got my buddy, Forrest Van Tile, of the band An American Forrest, the artist formerly known as An American Forrest. Joined me to talk a little bit about life, catch up on what a crazy year it has been since I last had him on the show. I sure like old Forrest. He's kind of a hippie cowboy. He's a little bit of a left-wing cowboy. And you know what? That's all right. We need those left-wing voices out in the world, and those all your great music that you can think of. Most of those guys are a little bit on the hippie side because I don't know, whatever reason, that's creativity comes from a lot of times comes from that kind of left-leaning or that, I don't know, I guess more liberal thinking folks. And so if you like good music, we don't want to get rid of the liberals. Anyways, I sure like Forrest. He's it's always an interesting conversation when he's on. I love his music. His new album is great, and this was a fun episode. Just a Sunday afternoon, two broke cowhands shooting the shit while I was and then right before I was getting ready to call Boots and see what he was doing. So I think you'll like this one. It's a good way to end the week. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will, if you guys are around Southwest Kansas, and you'd, anybody wants to meet up, shoot me a message on Facebook, Instagram, all that, and Same way if you're going to be in the Dallas area, Tuesday, I suppose. I'll be be around there for a little bit. So, anyways, I hope the weekend goes well, and let's get into the show with Forrest Van Tile.
Hold the center. Written the darkness, I have written the light. I cut through the bullshit to the heart of the night. It sure gets cold when that sun goes down. It sure gets cold when that sun goes down. I'm gonna hold the center.
Yeah, I actually just bought a new one, so that's exciting.
Sweet, man. I need to get another one bought here at some point. I'm fine with my string as it is, but I could definitely use a few more. Just for cowboying sake, you know, you always got to have some fresh stock.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. So I really wish you guys could have made it down to Elko, man. That was such a fun show.
Dude, I know. I wish I had seen Jake play. Yeah.
Oh, dude. That was the first time I really got to see him play live. You know, I've seen some videos and stuff, but that dude can control a crowd. Like, he had everybody just eating out of the palm of his hand. And I had no business on stage with anybody there, but it was fun.
Yeah, he's one of the real guys, you know?
I love that guy.
Guy knows how to fucking sing.
Yeah. And he just, for as young as he is, like, his lyrics are very well thought out. They're like, there's a lot of depth for a young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. I love Jake Houston. He made me a pair of boots. Fucking sweet, dude. They are so nice.
Dude, I've been talking to him. He measured my feet a while ago, like last year when he was making my wife's boots.
Yeah.
And he just found my measurement folder again, so I might be putting an order in.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, and then those Wilsons, they're probably not too far from where you're at. They're up in Silver Lake, but those guys can freaking play, man. They are really good. Like,
sweet.
Matt Wilson. I mean, he of course, he's a hell of a bit maker and everything, but he wrote my theme music. Let me see if I can pull it up here. It's one of the coolest things I've ever had happen. You know, I've got my own theme song, and it's fucking cool. Where did I put? All right. All right. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
How cool is that, man?
That's badass.
In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right.
Man, that's truly one of the coolest things I've ever had happen. And I don't know. It's just good people, man. I love good people.
Yeah, that's a badass song, dude.
Hell
You've
yeah.
done well.
Yeah, I can't complain, but yeah, man, it's I'm glad you glad you texted today, because I've just been thinking a lot here lately, you know, with all the shit that has gone on in the past year. So we're like about a year and a month since you guys stayed here, and
yeah,
I think the world needs some good live music more than ever.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. What do you think? So you have a new record out here. You released it here a little while back, right?
Yep, and it's only out for a limited time.
Nice. Hell yeah.
That's no, things are so my music career is in kind of a weird spot, as you might imagine, from not playing shows for a year. But yeah, I'm gonna kind of take a break from it for a while. So I put out that record back in March. But pretty soon here, I just got done shipping stuff out. So there's a big delay on getting CDs. But yeah, pretty soon here, I'm going to actually take that down and kind of put it on the shelf for a while, and maybe try and get a label to put it out or something. But basically just kind of like bring stuff down on the music front for a while. Because I don't really want to be involved in like the reopening side of shit.
Oh, like, yeah.
Yeah, like touring is such a pain in the ass for me to begin with, that having this other thing of like inconsistent regulations and getting shut down at any time, like, I don't know. I'm just like having way too much fun, like cowboying full time right now, and like building string and, you know, just doing that shit all the time. It's like music is kind of a interruption with that. So I keep telling people when I'm 40, I'll get back to it.
There you go. Well, you're looking more cowboyish nowadays. You're getting a little leaner in the face. Not that you had much to lose beforehand, but you're definitely looking like a range cowboy nowadays. Because
man, I've been thinking about last time I was on the show when we were out in Smith Valley. I was like, I was fucked up, man. That was a rough patch. It was like, oh man, that was a hard fucking tour.
I bet.
And that was kind of a low point. I mean, that show was awesome. Like the show, hanging out at Juan's, all that stuff was great. But just like the road just kind of kept taking it out of us. And then we finally got to like, kind of after that show, we played a couple shows in like Reno and Tahoe area. And then it was like, cool, we got a couple days off. We're going to regroup. Things are going to go good for the last leg. We're going back to the Northwest. And then it was just like, shut down.
Like kill switch, man.
End of the world. Yeah. I was like, holy shit. And then, oh man. And then we had to cancel a bunch of shows, 11, which is more shows than I've ever canceled combined in my like 10 years of music. And then we got all this pushback from like 3 or 4 different places. They were like, you sure you want to cancel? Like, fucking A. By the time that show would have happened, that bar was shut down and out of business anyway. I was just like, fuck you guys. I'm out of here.
Man, it's wild. I've never experienced so much just like overall vitriol and hatred in a year's span in my entire life, you know. And I feel like we're kind of on the parallel field here, because like we both had big plans. I was wanting to get out and start meet some of the, you know, the listeners and kind of develop this community that we've got going on a little bit more. And just everything is shut down. I mean, and granted, I had a good year because everybody was locked down. So there and everybody's hurting for content. And when there's not another Marvel movie, you might as well go listen to dick jokes on Burning Daylight, I guess. But
nothing like
it. But it's so it's been a good year in that way. But at the same time, like not much really changed around us. In like the immediate vicinity, there's been some minor inconveniences and some like minor squabbles here and there, but the greater world around us is just burning into a giant pile of shit. and you're just like, it feels like we are seriously on the edge of armed conflict here within our own country. And our leaders are doing everything they can to just throw jet fuel on the flames, it seems like. And
yeah. Well, I don't know if we're even on the edge. I think we passed the edge of armed conflict on January 6th, didn't we?
Well, I mean, if you want to use that metric, we can go
depending
back
on your definition of arms.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, if we're gonna like, and that's what the media will trot out this January 6th deal as like the catalyst. But like, did you not notice the entire fucking summer when Portland, Seattle, Minneapolis, Chicago, LA, New York is just burning to the fucking ground but fiery, but mostly peaceful, And, we had a conversation early on when I shared a Colin Kaepernick meme, and I'm no fan of Colin Kaepernick. I think he's a fucking grifter. I really do. I think the original point he was trying to make was important. And then, but nobody can admit they're wrong or say, hey, I took it too far, or I mishandled that. Everybody just has to dig their heels in deeper.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that with all these governors too. Like we all knew this thing was going to be dangerous and whatever. And well, then we're like, oh, well, it's really only dangerous for a certain set of people. But they've taken all these authoritarian measures, and if they admit that, hey, we went too far, well, then they get booted out of office. So they just got to double down and triple down and quadruple down. And yeah, and then you have the Capitol Hill riot, and you look, oh, well, these left-wing, supposedly left-wing leaders are not anti-police at all. They're just anti-police when it serves an agenda, because they get a little bit of pushback at their own house, and they send in 25,000 National Guard and basically make DC, a political fortress. Yeah, they don't give a fuck about BLM. They don't give a fuck about any of these Antifa people, they care about protecting power at all costs. And I think you're seeing that. Yeah, it's, man. What a spiral this country has gone down.
It's getting rowdy out there.
Yeah, it really is. And at the same time, like I still got to go. I mean, I was at the feed yard till about 3:30 this morning, waiting on a truck to come in.
Nice.
And I was a little pissed at one of the truckers because, well, here for an example, we had 3 trucks come in right back to back. Well, 2 showed up at the scale right at the same time. And then right as the first truck is bumping the chute, a third one comes in. So I was like, hold up, I'll go weigh this guy in. Well, the guy weighed himself in. Nevada's pretty strict about certified weights on cattle, hay, whatever. Like whoever runs the scale has to like fill out a form and become a public weighmaster. I mean, it's not a huge process, but like they take it very seriously because we do a lot of interstate commerce stuff here, being right on the border of California, and we grow a lot of hay here. And it just, anyway, there's a process, whether you agree with it or not. And I've never had a truck driver weigh himself in, and I've been in the feedlot business for 12 years now.
Yeah.
A truck driver, you show up, you bump the chute, you unload your cattle, and and then you leave. That is your job. You are not to run the scale. And he was like, "Oh, I thought it was no big deal." It'd be like me walking into your house and just grabbing a beer because, like, oh, I assumed you were gonna offer me one anyways. Oh, no.
Yeah.
You just don't do that. But
don't
like
behind the bar.
Yeah, so that's like my actual real world problems, but that in the meantime, like I keep an eye on everything because eventually it's going to filter down to us here in the sticks, and we're going to get the short end of everything regardless. No matter which side wins, we're going to get the short end of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm in kind of a weird, I've always been kind of a weird in between with like having my friend groups spread out. Just the people I'm in contact with are so diverse politically. Like, it's been funny for me seeing like the mainstream media reporting on stuff, and then seeing like my extreme right-wing friends commenting on it and my extreme left-wing friends talking about the situation on the ground, like Portland and Seattle, for example. Like, I have multiple friends who live in Chop or Chaz.
Yeah.
I prefer Chaz because it's kind of like a bro-y name.
Yeah, it fits a lot better. It's got it rolls off the tongue pretty well.
Yeah, it really does.
I didn't like the rebranding. The Chop was not
no.
Well,
and it ended right after they changed the name to Chop. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, when autonomous sounds a lot better than occupied,
Yeah.
Occupied's just never. You either think of like a ground invasion or a porta-john, occupied, and neither one of them are a good image.
Yeah. Well, and autonomous zone, it's like the Monty Python reference,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, hey, the left wingers still do have a sense of humor, after all, it's like, hey, it was a glimmer of hope. And I didn't, it was one of those deals where like, I don't agree probably with 90% of the politics behind that whole deal, but I also am a strong advocate for decentralization, and that is decentralization right there. And if they would have, I don't know, like that I think everybody can see by now, like the leadership in those respective cities is just hot garbage. Like they're ineffective, incompetent, all that. I think we could say that for most of the leadership of this country anyways, but
that is a very popular opinion.
But like all of the right wingers, and that's, the vast majority of my audience is right leaning. But you can't ignore those arguments from BLM, from Antifa, and whether you agree with them or not, like they're not going away. And and on both sides, like if you win your point, the other side doesn't go away. It seems like some of these crazy lefties are trying to make Trump supporters go away. I mean, they're trying to just silence Donald Trump altogether, which I'm okay with less Donald Trump. I really am. But I'm not.
I get less Donald Trump in my monitors.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But like you don't like this whole canceling or just, back in the Soviet era and in communist Chinese, they called it disappearing. It's same type of thing, and maybe they're not sending you to a gulag, but like when you're off of all the main platforms that everybody uses to communicate nowadays, you're essentially just disappeared. And And I'm not okay with that, regardless of how crazy the person is. That's not what we built this country on. You have to be able to let stupid people talk so that people can see that they're stupid.
Yeah, but unfortunately, like a lot of those stupid people find even stupider people to like agree with them and do their dirty work, and that's
true.
That's the tricky trade-off everyone's trying to figure out now. It's like
you take this, like the 4 years of Donald Trump and how every semblance of, I won't even say objective journalism, because I don't think objective journalism truly exists. Everybody has one opinion one way or another, and it's going to bleed through, and that's understandable. Mm-hmm. But every semblance of ethical journalism has been thrown out the window on all sides. There's very few what I would call ethical journalists. Like you had a very personal encounter with this. You were featured in the New York Times.
Hey,
and
claim to fame right there.
You shared that article, and I read it, and I was just like, you're talking about this global shutdown, and in particular, you're talking about how it affected the music industry, and you went to interview a said independent musician and did nothing to help your cause. Like, you featured him, but like nothing like, hey, you can find his music here. He says you can support us by buying T-shirts and albums directly from us at Bandcamp or whatever.
Didn't even include my band name.
Yeah. And then like they removed like the one verse that you really wanted heard. They removed that.
Yeah.
And man, I don't even know. So I guess it's up to just regular people to try and do it. And so maybe that's
well, they say like if you want to know how inaccurate news reporting is, just read a story that someone has written about you, and then apply that to everything.
Yeah,
but it's really popular to hate on journalists. But I grew up with one. My brother was a sports writer for a long time, which kind of different ball game, but it's still the same industry.
Yeah,
I've got some really good friends who are in it, and it's like it really just comes down to like deadlines and who answers the phone first and shit like that. Like. I don't know. It's like it's a job like anything else. I think a lot of people, kind of like they do with art or like music too, a lot of people attach all this other crazy like woo mystical shit to it. Like, they have an agenda and they're taking over our country. And it's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, everybody has their personal biases and does their job better or worse. But like, I don't think anybody in the journalism industry is like organized enough or making enough money to be like running a conspiracy to overthrow conservative America or anything. I don't know. I just think it's funny how intense people get about criticizing journalists when it's like, dude, they're just like, they're doing a job. And like, maybe, I don't know, like I see it as like just any other blue collar job. Like, yeah, they're writing, but like, as far as writers go, journalists are like, they just show up and have to go do work and they have to like call a bunch of people. Like, I don't know, journalists work their asses off and get no money.
You're 100% right there. I think
that's my opinion about most things though, is it's like, it's way more complicated and way less nefarious than everybody wants to imagine it. Like most conspiracy theories, I think they're hilarious. And I'm like, nobody has time to actually organize.
Well,
I don't know.
And
that's just me.
I think, it's not so much that, like I love conspiracy theories. I'll delve down that for days, but, most of them, there's always a grain of truth in them. That's the thing. And
that's how they get you.
Yeah. I think Donald Trump is the perfect example of this, because like the left wing hate him because they think, he was called literally Hitler multiple times. And then, you have accounts like calling him God Emperor Trump on the other side. And, like it was really hilarious seeing all the boomers go full conspiracy theory after the election ended, and all of this run up to January 6th was like, just wait, trust the plan. Trump's, like on 37D chess at this point. And at the end of the day, no, he's just Donald Trump, who's probably, somewhere on the spectrum. And
I don't know what spectrum, but he's on one of them.
He's on some sort of mental health spectrum. I don't know which one. But he's just like a classic narcissist, and he's got like a genius level instinct, but at the end of the day, he's just Donald Trump. He's a real estate mogul that got himself way in over his head politically, had some pretty good instincts, but doesn't know when to shut his fucking mouth.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you look at his policies weren't that bad. It was all the rhetoric. It was all the rhetoric. And and people can't see past the rhetoric, and that's a problem for everybody. But at the end of the day, he was not literally Hitler. He was not God or Emperor Trump. He was just an orange buffoon that somehow made it to the. And you gotta hand it to him. Like, nobody's ever done that. He went from zero political experience, and he took out the Bushes and the Clintons. I mean, that's that in itself. He deserves a little bit of credit just for that. And but outside of that, it's just he jumped on the media, shit show, escalated it, and he had a real chance to do some good, because his policies are far more liberal than most of the Republicans that ran against him.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, for sure.
He had a really good chance to kind of solidify the blue collar worker, because that was like who he preached to.
Yeah.
And if he could have just not tweeted every once in a while, that he probably would he would have had a landslide victory in 2020. But no, they and then when I say the media, I'm talking about like the big outlets, not the individual journalists. It's CNN. Like, if that Project Veritas deal, you have a high level CNN guy telling you straight up, we got Trump out because we ran with all this COVID numbers, and we hyped up the deads. We got to have more deads. We got to have that death ticker on the screen all the time. If it bleeds, it reads. And that at some point has got to be almost criminal, because you caused all these politicians that were kind of maybe keeping those authoritarian tendencies at just under the surface. Well, they brought them right out, and you guys just amped it up. And man, it just, I don't know. I don't even know where we start to fix any of that. So my point is just if I'm going to discuss politics with anybody, we'll do it reasonably. We'll do it clear-headedly, and I'll call out people when I feel that like they are doing wrong, regardless of what side they're on. I will call it out. If they're doing a good job, I'll call them out. Joe Biden, this troop pullout in Afghanistan, I hope you follow through. I really do. Yeah. However, we're supposed to be out in 6 days, according to the deadline that Donald Trump set.
Yeah.
You rolled it back to 9/11 so you could have a symbolic victory. So you're pushing it back 5 months and 11 days so that you can commemorate the longest war in American history, which can be summed up as a complete and total colossal failure.
Yeah.
And you're going to commemorate that on one of the worst days in American history. Excellent political theater. Let's pray to God that no American servicemen and women die between May 1st and September 11th, because you got to have this symbolic political theater victory. Mm-hmm. God damn it, man. Like that's the shit that, like, good on you for finally saying you're going to end a war, but you rolled it back 5 months for no reason.
Yeah.
For no reason at all. Just so you don't give Donald Trump a victory? Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, man, it's crazy that war is ending. Like, I don't know. I've been reading a lot, kind of about a year ago when lockdown started, and I was like doing literally nothing for a while there. I got really into the Afghan wars, and like, I read, John Krakauer? Mm-hmm. He's like an investigative journalist kind of guy.
Yeah, anyway, I read a couple of his books. I haven't read that one.
I read his book about Pat Tillman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck? And so then I read another book it was like the military history of Afghanistan, which is sick because it starts with Alexander the Great. And from him until literally right now, it's like the world's biggest civilization, the world's biggest military powers go to Afghanistan. They take over the 3 or 4 biggest cities, and then the mountain people come down and fuck them up. And then they get defeated and go home. And we did that. The Russians did that. The British did that. Oh man. Do you ever watch the, obviously you're familiar with Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
So there's the newer like BBC version of that. And what's insane is that Dr. Watson, Sherlock's assistant, is in the original series. He's a military doctor who had done a tour of duty in Afghanistan.
Okay.
And it's set in the 1890s.
That's insane.
In the new series, Dr. Watson is a military doctor who has done tours of duty in Afghanistan, and it is set in the present era.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's there's I don't know if you saw my my Instagram post yesterday, but this comedian Dave Smith was on Joe Rogan, and he's like an anarchist libertarian guy, and but he makes an argument that I think, anybody listening to it, they're gonna if you sit and listen to him, you'll become just at least a shade more libertarian when you're done. But like he for 3 hours laid out on Rogan, which, is one of the biggest platforms in the world at this point, 3 hours about how this entire bullshit that we're going through right now essentially started on 9/11. The George W. Bush era expanded the federal government in a way that we have never seen before.
I mean, invented the NSA.
Invented Homeland Security.
Yeah.
That's the single biggest government expansion program in history is the Department of Homeland Security.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, up until this COVID bailout,
right?
Which everybody should be pissed about that. Honestly, everybody got checks, except they were just a little bit smaller than what the big players get or the foreign governments get. But hey, they're looking out for you guys. But yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's crazy, but life goes on. I don't know what we do with the national politics, but we can try not to be dicks to one another. That would go a long ways, I think.
Yeah.
I've never been more thankful in my life to have grown up the way I grew up and live where I live and be surrounded
You're from Colorado, right? Southeastern Colorado.
Yeah, very southeast corner, and it's very similar to Smith Valley in that way. It's very rural. It's a long way to anywhere, and and you have to be able to get along with your neighbors because you might need their help. Because you get a big snowstorm or any big emergency, they're going to take care of Reno and Las Vegas first, and then everybody else will, eventually they'll get to you. Yeah. So in the meantime, you got to take care of each other, and that's the way it's always been where I've grown up and lived, and I prefer it that way. I like a little self-reliance. And but it also it's a polite society, and it's also you mind your business, but you help out where you can. It's just. I think that's the way everybody ought to be, but it's not how it is. But in the meantime, that's how I'm going to live my life. That's how I'm going to raise my kids, and that's about all I can do.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we got people that like to listen to who I have on, so we'll just we'll talk to American Forrest here.
Do it.
let's talk a little bit about your album.
Okay. My limited time offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the overall theme of this particular work?
Gleaner's Joy. Oh man, I don't know. Let me look at a copy here. We'll do just like the late night hosts.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the overall theme is just kind of like rough and pretty. That's what I was going for. Pretty rough. Yeah, it's kind of stripped down. It's like mostly just 3 of us, 3 or 4 people on the whole thing. Like me and my wife both playing acoustic guitar and singing, and then a guy playing upright bass, and that's basically it. So yeah, it's just kind of like, I guess, trying to do as much as you can with not very much.
I like it, man. My family motto is not too much. That's no joke. The McKinley family crest has a stag and it says "not too much," and
that's awesome.
We don't need much, just enough to get by. And I don't know. That's my family. Like my granddad farmed during the dirty 30s in an open cab tractor, and they didn't have much, but they got by. They always made it work, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm thankful for that. I guess that kind of thinking, like money has never really meant a whole lot to me. It's nice, but
that's why you ride horses for a living, because money doesn't.
Exactly. And it'll sound like I'm bragging on myself, but I'm really not. Like I have some skills and knowledge and intelligence to make money elsewhere, but I like what I do. It's an honest living, and that's one thing that I think about a lot. Like in the cowboy and ranch world, like to be a cowboy, the amount of skills you have to have is insane. Like the amount of other jobs you could do that pay way better with those skills. It's like, like starting colts, training horses, shoeing horses, driving a truck and trailer, like doing vet work, like, and that's like very basic. And then even stuff like whether you're packing or, just any of that crazy stuff is like, I mean, a lot of guys do leather work and stuff. Like you have to have so many freaking skills running equipment to like load a feed truck. Yeah. It's like, figure out how to lay a water line, fix a water line, And that's all shit that has to be done now. Like you don't like when you have cattle out of water, like you don't have anything else on your plate. You are getting cattle or water to cattle. That is your job.
You're not clocking out. You're not calling somebody.
And guess what, cowboys? Like you can't do that a horseback. Like when you're fixing water lines, you're gonna have to step down and maybe get a little mud on the boots. It's just part of it.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And because at the end of the day, the cowboy title is it's a man taking care of cows. Essentially, it's on horseback is how I define it as a man on horseback taking care of cows is a cowboy. But there's a lot that goes into that. Yeah. And sometimes that has to be done afoot. And it used to maybe not be that way, but that's how it is now. You can't just trail your cattle to the next water hole. You can't do that now.
That's on somebody else's property now.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's a swimming pool at the neighbor's house.
Yeah, it was funny. I had a fella from Montana that runs cattle on the northern Cheyenne res, and just we were talking about how the whole property debate was settled, during the westward expansion, and it was a shit show. It was a glorious time. Everybody loves to read about it, but when you really delve into it a little bit deeper than just Louis L'Amour novels, boy, it was ugly.
Oh yeah.
It's fascinating. It's one of the more fascinating periods of time in history, but it was ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And
great socialist land redistribution program.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Don't say that too loud.
Well, and we're still facing those, the third and fourth and fifth order effects from that today. It's wild, and I don't know. I've never heard more times in my life that history repeats itself, and I've never seen more times in my life people just blatantly disregarding that same advice that they preach. Whether it be with the Trump supporters and tariffs. I don't know if you know, like the Smoot-Hawley Act, like directly led to the Great Depression, and then the whole New Deal era that just made it even worse. It expanded the Great Depression. It wasn't really till World War II that caused the economic boom to pull us out. So all these, FDR was still considered one of the greatest presidents on earth by both sides, but the New Deal wasn't that great. It spent a lot of money, but it did nothing to get the economy going. It wasn't until World War II hit. But here we are. We're just throw more money at it. Let's print more money. Let's at both sides. And it's like, and then in almost the same sentence, they'll tell you, if we don't learn from history, it'll repeat itself. God damn it, guys. I just it's wild.
Are you familiar with John Wesley Powell? Speaking of historical figures,
I know the name, but I can't place him.
Yeah, his big accomplishment was being the first person to navigate the entire Colorado River. So the first person to go. I mean, he put in at Green River and came out in the Sea of Cortez.
That's awesome.
So he was the first person to run the Grand Canyon, and he was a Civil War general with one arm. So this one arm dude and his crew ran the Colorado River. Anyway,
that's insane.
Yeah, he went on to found the USGS, United States Geological Service. Anyway, his ideas about kind of how the land distribution should have worked and water rights and basically all the problems we're still dealing with like water in the West and over allocation and stuff like that. He had great ideas for and was most of the time ignored. But anyway, he's super cool. There's a great Wallace Stegner book about him, and it's called West of the 100th Meridian. I think you'd really like that.
Let me write that down.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then, of course, he wrote his own book about his trip down the Colorado River, which is super cool. But yeah, the Wallace Stegner book's neat. It goes through all the stuff that he did and tried to do once he got into government service after doing his river trip.
Nice. That's awesome.
He talks a lot about like dividing up basically like the Homestead Act. And once you get west of the 100th Meridian, it gets so dry that doing 160-acre sections makes no sense.
Yeah.
But they did it anyway. And then he also talked about like making all the borders of the West based off of watersheds instead of random like geographic lines. So anyway, yeah.
That's interesting.
One of those cool people that kind of got ignored.
Yeah. I'll have to look that up. It's funny that you bring that up though. My dad has been embroiled in this legal battle over water rights for a couple of years now. He actually he got held in contempt of court here last it was August, I think. He held a barbecue and a rally on the courthouse lawn the day of his hearing. But my dad's a badass. He's so basically the law in the state of Colorado is, in order to drill a agricultural well, you have to apply for a permit. And there's a 35-day period where anybody in the state of Colorado can file an objection. And then if that's the case, there has to be a public hearing in the district where the complaint or where the permit is in question. And they have to they have to do a study and find out how much water is there and then allocate it according to state law. And this this big investment company bought the Witcher Ranch, which is a pretty big ranch for that part of the world. And it's right on the Cimarron River, which is the state boundary from Colorado to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And they applied for something like 80 something wells. And this is a part of the world where and Cimarron River right there is a dry riverbed. The river goes underground. It has there's accounts of it from, way back in the 1800s.
Yeah. That's basically New Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. It's right there in the Three Corners area. So it's Colorado, Oklahoma, New Mexico, right in there.
Yeah.
And then of course Texas just south of there. And this is a place that gets about 11 inches of rain a year on average, and it's been a while since they've had an average year. It's been pretty dry. Yeah. It's a dry part of the world. It's a Dust Bowl area, and this is all pulling water out of the Ogallala Aquifer, which is pretty stressed at the moment. And now you want to put 87 new wells on it, and they just got approved carte blanche, even though my dad filed objections. People have filed objections, and basically he kept tying them up in court, but they never held a hearing and proved that there was sufficient water. There was unallocated water. And so eventually they filed an injunction against him and said, you cannot file any more objections or motions or anything without legal counsel, because he was doing this all on his own. He was representing himself. And he said, direct quote from Wes McKinley, they say, he said, a man who represents himself has a fool for a client. And he's like, I'm fully aware of that, but I'm 76-year-old fool at this point there. And he shored up all the assets and everything and put his whole estate into a trust so they couldn't come after him.
Nice.
And they sent him a bill for like $40,000 in legal fees. And he said, I don't have it. I'm not going to pay it. So they came after him that way, and they eventually got it down to where he had to pay like $200 in legal fees. But in response to this injunction that they filed against him, he filed a motion for clarification. And that's what got him held in contempt. And so they suspended his jail sentence. But if he breaks that order, then he'll have to spend like 90 days in jail. And I think he was really wanting to go to jail.
Yeah,
he was wanting to write a book about it in jail. But yeah, he didn't get that. But he's really made a stink about it. And he's pretty good at that. He's done that before in the past, and but he's done a good job of I guess raising awareness would be the politically correct term to what he did. But really, he just he called them out on their bullshit, and he's like, no, I was there when he was in office when they wrote this particular law, so like he's very well versed in that, and he's 76 years old. My mom's been dead for 10 years, 11 years, and so he's got nothing but time on his hands. So that's what he does is he researches it, and has basically just become a giant pain in their ass. And yeah, but that's what educated citizenship is supposed to be, right? You're supposed to hold your elected officials accountable, and so
and your rich neighbors.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole thing is if you're going to look at free markets, like you can't have these giant corporations getting handouts from the taxpayers like that. That's not a free market.
Yeah.
Fellas. That is not a free market. That is essentially what we call fascism. It doesn't have the whole evil genocide deal attached to it yet, but the economic system, when you have close cooperation with centralized government and big corporate powers. That's fascism, fellas. I mean, it's not a truth kind of hurts, but it is what it is. And and we're seeing that, this whole deal. How many mom and pop shops went under this past year while Amazon,
Walmart stayed open, and Amazon
Home
made
Depot.
millions of dollars. Yeah.
And not only does Amazon make a bunch of money, but they also host all the web services for the federal government. So you can't really call them a private company at that point. When they're making the vast majority of their money off of providing a service for the federal government.
Right.
Yeah. Or like Twitter, same way. When how fucking weird is that when you remove the duly elected sitting president of the United States from your platform? How wild is that?
That's insane. It's it's insane for a lot of reasons.
No, and I'm not saying it wasn't justified. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
It's crazy that they had to do it, or it's crazy that they did it, and it's also crazy that they felt like they had to do it.
Yeah. I think it's crazy on both sides. I don't think there's any clear bad guy. I think they're both bad guys, but it'd be like kicking the president out of your bar for being drunk, for being drunk and starting shit. I'm sorry, Mr. President, you're gonna have to leave. But at the same time, when you allow people that are equally or more drunk than said president in your bar and you don't kick them out at the same time, and this is also the main bar where everybody votes and shit. So it's like a public
why are
bar.
we voting in a bar?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What is this, 1776?
Yeah. And during this vote, you can't express the entire reason why you're voting for this guy. You only have this much time to explain why you voted for this guy. So the drunker you get, the more vulgar you get. And and that really is what Twitter is. It's just, it's 3 a.m. at a bar that should have closed at 1 a.m.
It's when you're in the bar at closing time, but it's daylight saving time. So they stay open an extra hour and everything's just going to shit.
Yeah. And instead of trying to get laid, there's still the guys trying to get laid, but mostly everybody's trying to fight and nobody's really ready to fight. Oh, fuck. It's, what a time we live in, man. What a time.
What a time.
Well, if nothing else, I'm glad there's guys like you out there, Forrest. I don't know, for whatever reason, I just thought we were homies from the get-go. And whether you thought so or not, I always thought so. So you didn't really have much of a choice. So, but I appreciate you, man. I love your music. I'm a little disappointed you're taking some time off, but hey, you do you. I'll just keep listening to the hits.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see if I can retire or if my wife will let me.
Yeah.
Or if she's not on the road.
She's still working on new stuff.
Oh man. Yeah. She's gonna have a really big year. She's got
hell yeah,
a full length record coming out in sometime in the fall. Obviously it's hard to plan things like that right now, but sometime in the fall, she's supposed to have a record out. She's signed to a couple. She's got a European label and a US label. So she's they're mom and pop kind of outfits, but it's really cool. Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, I'm kind of with a musician like that in the household, I can kind of take a step back.
Hey,
let the big guys do it.
See, my dad has said for many years, there's one of his famous quotes that if you're going to be a cowboy, you got to marry a woman in town with a good paycheck. So you're following right along those footsteps, Forrest. My dad would be proud.
Yeah, we'll see how it pays. The music business is, it's it should tell you something. When I start cowboying and can't believe how much money I have, after being a musician. Like, wow, I'm rich now.
Yeah. Cowboying don't pay. So, that's
well, it doesn't pay much, but it does pay. Music
does
on the
pay.
other hand, it literally doesn't pay.
Yeah, that's for sure. But
oh man,
well, you guys always got a venue here in Smith Valley. Juan asks about you every time I go pick up pizza. So
yeah, that's there's not a lot of show. There's a very short list of places that I want to go play again.
Hell yeah,
that's one of them.
Juan's awesome. Little CG bars are just a good little hangout, and it's a pretty cool little place we live. I'm not gonna lie. Don't move here. The people suck. Terrible. Bunch of racists. Stay out.
People are mean, and the weather is terrible.
That's right. And then the horses are even snuffier than that. So just stay out. But it's man, it's good talking to you. I'm glad you're doing well. You look good.
Yeah.
The album sounded good. It's been a minute since I listened to it. Be honest. But it'll be on my playlist here the next couple of days for sure. And
awesome.
We'll where they buy that at Bandcamp?
Yeah, it's on my Bandcamp site, American Forrest with 2 R's, bandcamp.com. And there's 2 tracks on Spotify, not the whole thing, because I'd like to say it was like a big statement I was trying to make, but really I just got too busy and too lazy and didn't put it on there. So
fair enough. Fuck Spotify anyways, like buy the album and then you can upload it to your Spotify.
There you go.
I try to do that. I use Spotify a lot because it's handy, but if there's somebody that I like, I buy the album and then go listen to them on Spotify. So they get paid twice that way.
Yep, for sure. So, Spotify it's the worst thing about it is how well it works. It's that's the hardest part. Is like, shit, they really figured it out.
It's I've been a Spotify user for a long time, and because it's an awesome service. But then like talking to you and my buddy Sam and a bunch of other people that have music on Spotify, and you find out, they are making money hand over fist, while the people that they are using their music is not. And I have a whole issue with like copyright laws and stuff. But like when they're literally making money off of your music and they're paying you like fractions of a penny per play.
0.0045.
Holy shit.
And that's the high end. It's from 0.003 to 0.0045. So that's like a third to a half of a cent per play.
Jeez. Yeah, that's wild. So you get 1,000 plays or so, you make $1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So go to American Forrest, put his list on repeat, and maybe 20 years from now you'll be able to buy him a steak dinner. But anyhow, it's a great service. I wish they'd pay people a little bit more, but hey, that's life, ain't it? Go buy their albums and then go listen to the stuff on Spotify, so they can try to make a little bit of money.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you guys are welcome down here anytime. And
well, you never know when we're going to show up. You just see if anybody's hiring in that neck of the woods. You might see more of us than you want to.
There you go.
Yeah, we're always looking for an adventure.
I'll keep an ear out for sure. So we'll keep you posted. Where can everybody find you on the social medias?
I'm not on Twitter really. I have Instagram.
Fuck Twitter.
Instagram and Facebook. It's American Forrest with 2 R's. I'm not posting hardly anything, so don't worry, I won't be clogging up your feed.
You can go read the bullshit article in the New York Times somewhere, I'm sure, but if you want to,
I think you have to pay. What did I do? I think I had to get a copy of the actual newspaper from one of my friends to read it.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I used up all my free articles. So
Oh yeah. See, if you go to the archives, you can still get it. There's a bunch of the internet's undefeated. People on the internet are incredible. They're incredibly stupid, but they do some incredible stuff. So there's always a way around stuff. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It's cool that you were featured. I wouldn't recommend the article really. I just pissed me off more than anything. But
yeah,
it was pretty awesome to see a buddy, in the New York Times. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I will say it makes a good addition to the brag sheet for trying to book shows or get people to listen to the music. Somebody's like, when I'm like, oh, I've played the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering and I've been in the New York Times. And it's like, okay, I'll read your email. Yeah, like, that's half the battle right there. It's like, just read the fucker. Yeah.
See, I think I've turned a corner because now I've got on my brag sheet. I've had 3 conversations recorded with Boots O'Neill. So,
dude,
boom.
Yeah, that's doing it.
Yeah, why he decided he wanted to go ahead and let me do this, I don't know, but I'm not going to question it. Just keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
The dude is a legend. So I'm gonna hopefully he's got some time this afternoon. We'll do another one. So
cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna do whatever he'll allow me to do there. So I get to meet him here in a couple weeks down at the 4-6s. So that's gonna be cool.
Yeah. Are you going out there?
Yeah, I'm headed out to Kansas for a buddy of mine, Rawhide Braider, is getting married, and I'm officiating the wedding. So
nice.
And then on my way back, I'm gonna go drive down to the 6s and go interview Boots in person.
They're down at Alpine, right?
They are down at Guthrie.
Okay.
Guthrie, Texas. Yeah. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So they're about. I'm gonna drive from Kansas down there, and then catch my connecting flight in Dallas. So
cool.
try to meet a couple of people along the way. So it's gonna be a fun trip.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Make sure you drink a lot of Shiner for me.
Oh, I love me some Shiner Bock. That is one of the best beers on earth.
I heard a song the other day that rhymed Lukenbach with Shiner Bock. And I was like, fuck, that's the most Texas line I've ever heard.
Yo, Texas, I give them a lot of shit, but Texas is a cool place. Texans are good people for the most part. The ones that are out floating around outside of Texas are usually they're outside of Texas for a reason because they don't want them there.
Yeah. But, I always compare Texas to France, which might offend some Texans, but it's
I bet so.
The French are like everybody, they're like stuck up assholes because France is the greatest country on earth. We have the best wine and the best food and the best women. And Texas is the same way, but you can't be mad at them because they're right. Like Texas has Lone Star and Shiner and Topo Chico. Like they got the best drinks. They have the best. They treat musicians better than anywhere else.
Oh, Texas loves live music, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, Texas, you hate them, but they're right.
Mm-hmm. They're the Tom Brady of states. Like, you don't want to like them, but it's hard to argue with them, Yeah.
Yeah. You like them or not, they're going to beat you anyway.
I know. Like, and because like Nevada, you always have to qualify. Like if you leave Vegas out, Nevada's fucking rad. If you leave, and even like you could probably leave Reno out too at this point, but the rest of Nevada is rad. But it's a little different. Texas, they've got a little different swagger, and whatever. I'll talk shit to them all the time, but I respect them. It's a cool place.
Yeah.
But for sure, I'll drink some Shiner for you. I'll tell Boots that he's got fans up in Oregon too. So he that first episode I did with him has coming up on 1,000 downloads, and those are big numbers for me. And, so it's pretty cool. He was kind of blown away by that. So Now, I think hopefully, he's kind of leaning into this deal, and we'll get some really good ones. But I'll take what I can get. That's just that's a unique character, and you're kind of a unique character too, Forrest. And I appreciate you. You're kind of hippie, kind of cowboy, artist all the way around. I like it.
Okay, well, I'll just keep doing what I do. Keep being a weirdo.
Hey, I like it. Weird's good. Boring sucks.
All right.
Normal's boring. So
I'll keep reading the memes.
All right, man. Well, take care. Tell Margot hi, and take care.
Will do. All right.
Sign us off, buddy.
How do we do that? Oh,
Move your ass.
When it's get your ass out of bed. We're burning daylight.
Fair enough. We'll close it.
Whatever.
We'll take
It's
it.
snowing.
There we go. All right. We'll see you, buddy.
All right. Adios.
I'm gonna hold the center. I'm gonna hold the center. Sing for Emmy Lou in every kind of weather. I'm gonna hold the center. Take the long ride home, short circle, forget her. Wild mountain thyme blooms around the purple heather. I'm gonna hold the center. Hold the center. Written the darkness, I have written the light. I cut through the bullshit to the heart of the night. It sure gets cold when that sun goes down. It sure gets cold when that sun goes down. I'm gonna hold the center. I'm gonna hold the center. Sing for Emmy Lou in every kind of weather. I'm gonna hold the center. Burn yet. No one's here to hear me sing all 7 minutes of South Coast. No one's here to hear what I found out about St. Fenorius. Gonna hold the center. I'm gonna hold center. Sing for Emmy Lou in every kind